Minister that we pay so much, Minister Maiten, she's sleeping in Parliament, and with that position, she's going to fall. And the minister would have fought. She's still sleeping. I don't know what's happening. That's not a point of order. No. The minister is sleeping. You can't say that's not a point of order. Josie, you can't tell me people sleeping now. Josie,
This station rules the nation. Truth FM 96.1, the heart and soul of Liberia. Truth FM 96.1, the heart and soul of Liberia.
Okay, folks. Don't say ecclesiastic. There is time. There is time for everything. This station rules the nation. Truth FM. Good morning, folks. This is the TBS, the True Breakfast Show. What a way to be back with you again on the Wednesday morning. We here to serve you breakfast straight up to 10 o'clock this morning. The love of liberty matters here. Let justice be done to all. Today's Wednesday. What did God promise to Abraham? Today is Ibrahim Day. God's promise to Abraham, I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name so great, and you will be called blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. What a beautiful one. And God promised never lies. Oh, man. Good morning, folks. It's the Breakfast Show. 40 minutes up to 8 o'clock. And Bobby Blue Allison said it is rating. Says I got to know this. My able God has never disappointed me one day. Thank you, Papa God. Because you always there. This is veteran journalist Bobby Blue Allison. Good morning, folks. My name is O'Neill. This is O'Neill Roberts, MARKA Davis, serving breakfast straight up to 10 o'clock this morning. In the midst of all, country first. Yes, good morning to my dear friend and brother MARKA. Good morning. Miss you so much yesterday.
Yeah,
yesterday I was like a loon soldier.
I know.
I turned left, I turned right. Then I remember, said no retreat, no surrender.
Yeah.
Derek Cote say no retreat, no surrender. Good morning to you, my friend and brother. It's great to have you back this morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It is great again to be here this morning to serve our people and all of you who were concerned yesterday. Yes, I'm back. To God be the glory. And like when you always say, God is the greatest. Yes. When you believe and have faith, things will be fine. I mean, I'm a happy.
I saw you was like never broken down.
Yeah, I mean,
and the later on, I look at the face again. You stood like a man.
Yeah, sure. And you have to in certain situations you have to man up. You know, when you have big brother somewhere to do something for you, that is time you can add a picking.
Okay.
But when you do no probably around, you gotta wear that coat. What? Yeah, so
they wear that political photo.
Yeah, no, I real family, real man coat, no how you call it, no rhetoric about it.
Yeah. Straightforward.
Yeah, no rhetoric about it. Yeah, but to God be the glory. We still hope to get final report from the hospital. The lady gave birth yesterday. Bouncing baby boy. Whom I'm gonna name after my brother. Yeah.
You're not naming it after Taiwan? Don't even try Derek Cote name.
I'm gonna name it after my
baby. If you try to name that baby after Derek Cote, that baby will not get milk.
Well, somebody keep calling me. However, well, folks, good morning. Thank God we are here this morning to do the Liberian people's work. This is public service, and we are committed to doing it. Onu, thank you yesterday so much. You know, one message in here and I
got you firing. I watched the live. I said, they were not easier today.
Yeah, but you did your best. You know, when you gave me the quote about Abraham, and, you know, I just stepped in and said, how old was Abraham when God was making these promises to him? I just realized that he was 75 and childless.
Mm-hmm.
When God was promising a man that will make a whole nation through you, it takes faith. Yes, and trust in God. So God is the greatest.
God is the greatest. All of you that are going this lecture, just have faith.
It will work for
that
you.
promised land, that will
reach
give
there.
it. Amen.
It's just a matter of time.
We need a prayer for the show before we start this morning. Madam Mandina, we said just hold on. I'll pick it up shortly. You know, she the special representative, like Sarah Lone.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll pick up for 5 minutes. She's hanging on the line. Madam Mandina, we said just hold on. I'll pick it up in 5 minutes. But we need a clergyman. We don't need someone from the CDC to pray. We don't need someone from the CPP to pray. We don't need someone from the United Party to pray. That the Clarence Monumba Party, we don't need someone to pray. We don't
want anybody from
Lion to pray. What's the whole party needs?
LPP Party.
LPP, yeah. Yeah, they're running me over there.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's speak better. Yeah. What's this pastor who normally say a prayer? Normally.
Everybody.
Melvin Lake?
Yes.
Yeah. Melvin seems to be neutral. Abraham Placky, don't call. No, you pray Joseph Boga prayer.
Yeah, I know.
If John Wilson don't call, you pray the Cummins prayer. Don't call. Yeah. If Papi Keita call, you pray the John we have prayer.
Yeah, and maybe Reverend Josh Groupie can call. He's neutral. Yeah, if Reverend Josh Groupie calls, the thing he's powerful. Yeah. When Reverend Pray said, you won't run away.
Derek Cote don't call because normally you don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Derek Cote wants to pray for us.
There you go.
So, Ernest, Derek Cote will just go 1 minute. Go ahead. Morning.
Good
Morning.
My Father, my God.
Amen.
Bless this country.
Okay.
Let the people stop lying to us. Father, I stood in that capital building. My life.
praying. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm praying. Father, my prayer to you this morning is to bless this country. One teaching. We can't work for 14 years and people die. We don't want people to die anymore in this country as a result of greedy people. There are three reasons why this country is suffering. Number one, greed. Number two, arrogance. Number three, friskiness. Father, friskiness simply means when we put you in power, instead of doing what you're supposed to do so that people can love and respect you, you do bad things. You want people to fear you, to be afraid of you. That time pass, nobody will be afraid of anybody again.
Amen.
Do the right
Amen.
thing so that we can respect you. We're going to fear you.
Amen.
Amen.
You're stopping wickedness. You're too much. You're eating too much. Greedy people. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
La Pentecostal prayer.
You can say,
Yeah.
pray in the name of Jesus. Say amen. You say thank you.
Now, wicked prayer.
That's it.
That kind of prayer. Now, back to the center prayer. But yeah, Dr. Capital Billy.
I
Anyway,
said, and he been there.
that kind of prayer. That prayer can move demon.
I tell you, when we were small, we used to go to the Baptist church. We used to stay too long, but that kind of two brands was not, like that. But and the preacher man set his sermon by time, and when the time elapsed, it's done.
Everything over.
But the Pentecostal church,
The fire for fire.
don't make mistake. Don't make mistake. The preacher man is preaching, and then the man enters spirit. Forget it. That 2 hours.
They will put you to make a good pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I do deliverance.
Somebody wrote something else. The president, we are the only president who refused to be the Yokoti's friend.
Yeah, okay. They were able to be no young thing.
Yeah, they will say that small.
No,
Yeah, relax small.
you could be a pastor. Maybe you could be assistant pastor to Senator Johnson.
That is the same way you say you want to be assistant pastor to AB Church that you haven't started.
All right, well, let's get the lineup this morning. Thank you so much. Powerful prayer for during this prayer. Yeah, let's go have on our plate this morning on the breakfast show. Wednesday morning in the midst of our country friends. Yes, sir.
Yes, so what we got this morning, first day we have 104 days to election. We continue to remind the people of Liberia, including Madam Grace Pan. All of them are going to the polls now, so we'll remind them that 104 days to election. This morning, the issue of the candidate nomination process, we continue to receive all information from the National Elections Commission about the slow pace. Please, y'all hurry up. We may not have the opportunity to talk much about the dust bag issue this morning.
The time.
Yes, because of time. Coming out at 8 o'clock to 8:10, we will give you the opportunity briefly.
The spot too.
Yeah, to speak to your leader. And 8:15 sharp, we'll take Madam Grace Pont here this morning. It's a big one.
Big one.
It's a big one.
And Micah, I'm excited to see our guests arriving 45 minutes before the interview time. Yes.
I mean, this is amazing. So 8:15, we start the interview with her this morning. We're gonna quiz her on her public service records and all that she's done in this country before entering public service. What are other things she was doing? Okay, her contribution, what regret she had or she have, in her public service life and all of that. We'll talk about that this morning and much more. 10 after 9, we'll have sports and entertainment, and 9:15 to 10 o'clock, we have exclusive feature with LRA here this morning. They have different programs there. We don't know which one they'll be talking about this morning on the TBS on Truth 96.1 FM. So yes, great. Yeah, so we have to do some brief protocol this morning. So let's pick up Madam Mandina Wise. She's been to ECOWAS, ECOWAS Special Representative to Sierra Leone. As a matter of fact, she's been there. And the Sierra Leone on the observation team?
No, she was permanent representative.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
okay.
To the people of Sierra Leone. So we have Madam Mandina Wise. She stayed in Sierra Leone for some time doing the in and out. Let's bring her on the line for at least 5 minutes this morning. Good morning to you, Madam Wise. You're live on the breakfast show. Morning.
Yeah, good morning, O'Neill, and good morning to all the listeners. The Truth Breakfast Show. First correction, I was not ECOWAS representative, but the Secretary General of the Mara River Union, comprising Sierra Leone, Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, and Guinea. So that's where I'm coming from.
Great. Great. So, what's your take on the just an election? Being Secretary General of the Mana River.
Well, as you know, the former Secretary General from the Mano River Union, so called our ears, eyes, hearts, body, soul, spirit, have been with the people of Sierra Leone. And so we want to commend the people of Sierra Leone for having just concluded a very peaceful elections. And I think by and large, everyone is satisfied that the process was peaceful. And then a winner has been declared by the Elections Commission. And so we must commend the Elections Commission for that. The concerns have been prior to this, with moving social media where fake news dominated the airwaves. And unfortunately, ECOWAS in their statement has raised concerns that ECOWAS member and leader to the team that went to meet in chambers, and in their statement they were concerned that both parties were claiming victory prior to the Elections Commission, which is the body authorized to pronounce the winner. And so therefore, the sense of foreboding, caution needs to prevail. Watch from Liberia. So that's where the caution and the concerns are coming from.
Great. So now Mana Bill have been announced as congratulated as well as president of Sierra Leone for the second term. What can Liberia learn from that? Will you in the Mana River Basin?
Yes, we hope that we can learn lessons from what just recently transpired. One, the peaceful nature in which largely peaceful nature in which elections were conducted. Although several observers, whether it's AU, ECOWAS, the U.S. Development, National Elections Watch, and they have very elections observers who were all level of intimidation and the level of that pervaded this process. So we hope that we can learn one that not just held on the day October 10th to go into elections, but that the process must be free and that the international community would also be able to the process as free, credible, transparent, and ensure that the tenets of democracy.
Great, democracy. Yes.
Okay, Madam, as someone who worked in the region, especially as Secretary General of the Mana River Union, what are some of how similar are our electoral processes in the region, and how does it border on the democracy of the region, not just a particular country?
So what the lessons we can learn if we all look at the various statements from the observation missions that attended to the process in Sierra Leone, one of those elements that people look out for is that the process must be peaceful, must be free, must be right. And I think the issue of transparency, peace, and the fairness of the process, what we should work towards in life. Count the days I hear you all it down to elections come October 10th. So we hope that it is not just a professed confession we make that we want to see Liberia go through a free and fair process. We want to ensure that all stakeholders are confident and going to it believing that the process will be free, fair, and transparent.
Okay, so any final word from you as we take leave of you?
Just to ensure that we continue to be guided by the sense of peace and security and not go through the hope and the feeling with incendiary languages, what has happened in Sierra Leone. It's a mirror of what will happen here, or what could happen, or what should happen. We just want to be able to caution, peaceful citizens in Liberia to respect each other, and let's work towards a peaceful process in Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, the voice of Mandina Wisa with us on the breakfast show this morning on 96.1. It's 8 o'clock already, so we have to suspend this talking segment.
Okay.
But let me just announce the National Elections Commission boss, Madam Deviata Brown Lassanan. I phoned her in last night. She arrived in the country late, so by tomorrow we'll have her via mobile on the show. She was one of the many observers that left Liberia to witness what how the election process.
That was good for her.
Yes, she has
because
visited
she
Nigeria
lesson
and
from
now
there,
Sierra Leone.
and then compared to what are some of the lapses she saw, and then she can make correction. Now, it's good to be a substitute in a game sometimes.
Oh yeah,
Let others, get on a page play. Then when you look at mistakes, you can make correction.
She have learned
That
from
is
what you
great.
saw in Nigeria
Mhm.
and Sierra Leone. Next is who? Liberia.
Yeah, Liberia.
It won't run 4 days. Yes, it's 8 o'clock. Let's get the lines activated. 8:15 this morning. We're going to bring the VSB, the vice running mate from Line New with Dr. Clarence Monoba, Madam Grace Kwan. She's already in studio at 8:15, prompt to bring her live on the air. Call you, be live this morning. Talk to your leader on the TBS on 96.1, the heart and soul of Liberia. 0770 153 and that are from
0770-202-579. Again, 0770-202-579. Let me take this person. Please stay away from the receiver. We can't get our feedback. Sorry, 0770-202-579.
Let me pick Bobby Bobby, morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. 1 minute.
Thank you. I called this morning to congratulate our leaders. Despite of David Kuti condemning them.
No, that prayer will not condemn you. Prayer different from condemn you.
He condemned in the prayer.
Okay.
Yeah, but that God should do the best that He can to empower them. That's always pray for your leaders.
Okay.
To let them improve.
So David Kuti prayer was a troublesome one.
Yes, his prayer was not a good prayer. He came from that national legislature. We know what he did there. However, this morning I want to congratulate members of the 54th National Legislature for the drugs law, the drugs bill that was passed yesterday.
Okay.
Because the issue of being drugs, people have been complaining. Although the debate was hot yesterday in session,
Okay.
at the end of the day, they all agreed for that law to be passed. And the next thing is the executive to have it implemented. That's our next concern. Why should the legislature have done their part? Let the executive help to the enforcement component they need to work on. So, to Dr. Buffer Chambers and members of the federal legislature, thank you. But David Kuti, you need to repent.
I'm sure David Kuti will call back. He should repent.
Yeah. Okay, let me
go ahead, Maka. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Yeah, Maka, good morning.
Good morning, you're live.
And let me say good morning to O'Neill. My name is Patrick Fuller. I got from Road. Yeah, I called this morning to thank our legislature for the passage of the drugs law. Even though related, but they say better late than never, And like the last quarter put it, we are hoping and praying that the executive will implement this law, because all of us been waiting for this law. I am 100% convinced that the previous law contributed to the intake of drugs with no fear from our youth, and the importation of drugs with no fear. But I think this law will deter, especially when it is enforced to the letter, it will deter those drugs addicts. It will also deter those drugs importers in our country.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your participation. This one.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Maka. And let me say good morning to O'Neill. The name is Kwewu William Covey, and I joined this conversation from District City. This morning, I just called to give thanks to Honorable Lafia Guinea, former Deputy Public Works Minister for Technical Services under the Unity Party government, for revealing lies from this government. This government came to power by lies, and they think it can sustain power by lies. Yesterday, and in recent time, we have been hearing from the Finance Minister, Public Works Minister, and even the force from this government that this government has constructed a higher road more than all of the government in the past. They said they have constructed over 600 kilometers of road. Yesterday, that last was revealed by last year giving on OTFM when he said that this government kilometer completed road has not even reached 450. And it shows the entire government and the entire government ministry information and all, so none of them were able to defend it.
Okay.
Even force from the other one ministry, called deputy public minister or whosoever the government national, none of them were able to prove that 600 kilometers of road.
Okay. Thank you. This one. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is the voice of Darius Wigan, and I joined the conversation from District 6 Moscow County.
Go ahead.
I would always love to applaud you guys for the excellent work done at UPEV every morning. And this goes to Honorable Samuel Ennis of the District 6 Moscow County. You know, it is always good to say thanks to people whenever they do things in the interest of the masses. Yesterday, Honorable Samuel Ennis was one of those who was present and helped to pass the drugs law, because the drugs is something that is actually killing our youth these days, because we have a future. Those people, if we cannot bring this thing under control, the future of Liberia will not be safe, because these are people that we are depending on to make a better Liberia tomorrow. So we will consistently sit and just watch. There have been nothing but I applaud the lawmaker for his excellent work for helping the passage of the drug law yesterday. Thank you very much.
Okay, and big thanks to Joshua from Grand Bassa County. Good morning.
The front page Africa is catching this morning. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this one is not going. Let me take this one.
Calls.
Good morning. Please stay away from your monitor.
You have to move away, man.
Yes,
sorry.
so
You can't do this. Keep telling you to walk away from the monitor. The front page Africa Councillor Scott orders indicted for murder. It's a sub-lead story on front page Africa this morning.
Yeah, let me take this.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, MARKA, and good morning to my brother O'Neill Ravers.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Beto. I'm calling you from Beto Island this morning.
Why are you sounding like you sleeping? What happened to you?
No, I'm not sleeping. I'm just disappointed.
Okay.
Yes. Mainly when it comes to the chicken soup factory rule, I want to call on the public works minister. Madam Minister, our role, the chicken soup factory to Johnsonville, to the Bassatown community is very much deplorable. The last time our Senator Sir Joseph came, he assisted us, but you know, he alone cannot do all. So we are talking to you this morning. Please try to include us into your road development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, O'Neill and MARKA.
Go ahead.
Call to alarm.
What's your name, sir?
National Police.
What's your name, sir? And where you call from?
I'm James Romeo Garvey. I call from Marshall Territory.
Okay.
There's a guy in this place that is impersonating as a security man, intimidating peaceful citizens, and we are going to election. These things are not good for our country at this time. I'm calling the Liberia National Police to maybe make their way here through. I know this guy, person, my number is there. We have been victimized by intimidation. I personally been victimized by intimidation.
How do you know he's impersonating in the first place? How can you say that? What have you verified to tell you that he's not actually a security person? Though even if he's a security person, he has no right to be intimidating people.
But we have researched from all indications, and they have shown and proven that this guy is not force, is not of any force of any security apparatus in Liberia. But then he moved on with all kinds of, let's say, malfunctioning gadgets. That the radio is not working, but he got it in your hand. He got baton that is not given to him by any other authority. He even carry a weapon that is not functioning. But then you got signs that when citizens say this thing with him, they will feel intimidated and be fighting by action. Even the very community that he lives in, he is not community chairman, cannot speak. He has accused the mayor of being a witch, all kinds of things.
All right, the relevant authorities will do a search on that. Good morning.
Good morning, MARKA, and let me say good morning to O'Neill Ravers. This is Bobby Abu Meska. I do join the conversation this morning from District 6 at Dikoboro. Let me appreciate those senators and lawmakers who took that time yesterday to sign the drugs law. It shows that many of them are in the interest of the country. But my disappointment has to do with the time because they delay in signing the drugs law. We have 104 more days of election. Since we started advocating for the jobs law to be very proactive, many of them delay because we are wishing to a crucial election. But just by you guys signing, we appreciate you. But when we go to the ballot, we will pay some of you for some of the wicked deeds that you have done in this country. Because we're asking the president right now, it is the young people who are warming up voted for you, Mr. President. The just law is on your desk. We ask you when you come to you to please must try to cover and sign the law, even though we have a very good law, but we want for the DA to have extra training to track these drugs and these drugs people who know that like the ARU who are trained actually from the police, let them be trained in the drugs to be able to carry arms in the DA so that when they see drug dealer or whosoever bringing the drugs in the country, let them be tracked down because our young people are trained to drugs and we are not willing to damage our young generation because they are the young future for the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. I will just take one more call. Yes. You see, you have your own problem. You've been struggling to get through, and you got through. Now you read by the radio and giving us that kind of feedback. So yes, just one more call on 0770202579. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Let me say good morning to you, Oni, for answering my call. My name is Zona M. And I'm calling from Sacred Deer, Nima County.
Okay.
Let me say good morning to my political leaders, Honorable Alexander Benedict Kumi and Honorable Charles Bronson, President in waiting. It is a welcoming news that we are hearing the drug laws have been passed. We pray that it will be signature by the president so that at least we all will join the fight against drugs in this country. Okay. Because drugs is really killing the youth of this country. Even yesterday we have our intellectual center and the Saturday here where we invited the commander for DEA and explained a lot to us. And they also expect all we the community others to join them to fight.
Okay.
So because our community is one of the communities that is performing high when it comes to drugs taken by the youth. So
okay.
We say thank you, and we hope my government that will be coming will make sure that the job will be limited.
Your government will be coming. Thank you, my dear brother. And you call from a county. Thank you. From Nimba, especially Central Nimba, in Saclipie there. So yes, in a couple of minutes we will join our guest in studio. But just yes, it is a good thing that this drug law, has been passed by both houses. It will be on the desk of the president for signature. So the good thing that people who will be caught in and out of they say cultivation, manufacturing, importation, exportation, trafficking, sale of these what they call controlled drugs and substance sale will not be billed. That means that portion of these offenses are non bailable, like rape is. Once you are accused, you'll be beyond bars while the process will be going on. So it is great this morning for us to be here. We want to appreciate all of the lawmakers, even though, like one of the callers said, the delay. However, we have this, and I think the president will be, the political scientists can speak, people say magnanimous enough to, the president will be magnanimous enough to sign this into law. And we also, not just to pass these laws, we want the executive to be very much proactive in enforcing the laws. The issue of drugs that we have said over the time is a national emergency, and there's no time to waste with this drugs issue. So good morning again. Thanks to Honorable Alexander Goshua from Grand Bassa County, Lawrence Morris from District 1, Montserrado County. These are people who are sponsors of this bill. We would love to say thanks to all of you. Even Rosalind Swakoko Dennis also, they were all the ones who pushed this this bill to the legislature, and we want to be grateful to them and to all members of the House of Representatives and Senate for ensuring that this happens. So we are now crossing to Studio B, where O'Neill is seated with Madam Grace Pan, our guest this morning.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Marka. This is the TBS, the True Breakfast Show, 96.1, the Heart and Soul
of Liberia. Good morning to all of our many viewers, our listeners, those of you watching us online, Truth FM 96.1 in Saclay, PA, always relaying us in all our video radio stations across the country. This was Liberia's biggest breakfast show, cutting across the 15 counties in the land and breadth of the Republic of Liberia. The love of liberty made us here. Let justice be done to all. Good morning again. My name is O'Neill. Well, it's a pleasure to have the Vice Standard Bearer, the VSB, to Lino. All right. The face of that party is Dr. Clarence Monobai. So Madam Grace Pan is in studio this morning, having accepted our invitation to share breakfast up to 9:15 this morning. Good morning to you. Welcome to the True Breakfast Show.
Good morning, O'Neill.
How you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yes, let me see if I can get it back from adjusted. Health-wise, are you okay before we pick up from the Gene Springs and here through RIA and get this flight going?
If you want to start running for those Gene Springs, we can try.
Okay. How you been doing?
Well, I've been doing well. Trying to keep fit and do the regular things we normally do, serve our people in every way we possibly can. So we are working very hard with our children out there in the Ahai, talking about the drug law, and we've been working in whatever little way we can to help our own country, Liberia.
So you've been quiet in the political space for now. All of a sudden, we saw this big news. I was waking up, I was sleeping, I walked through the internet, I just saw the flyer. Wow, that's great. NMC, congratulations.
Yeah, okay. So before going on, NFL heard that of the passing of our former agriculture minister, I would like to extend my sympathy to the family. And it's my prayer that God will comfort them as they go through this time of bereavement. She was, I think, she's the first female minister of agriculture. So my sympathy goes out there to the family. And talking about being silent for a while, you have to also retreat and strategize and come back.
You retreat and strategize.
Yeah, and come back. Because our society is so gullible until sometimes when good things are happening, people don't see it. And you have to find a way to get in the way. Yeah, I think this is where we are.
You saw this coming all along that one of these days, Madam Grace Pan will be heading for the second seat in the country. I mean, you saw this coming on one of these days?
Well, feelings, situations surrounding us always made me to feel that I can be a leader in Liberia, to help transmogrify this country. It's nothing strange to me because I've been a leader from the trade union side, and that's a very huge place. You know, when you talk about real politics in the trade union movement, you see a lot being played. And unfortunately, people think when you are in a trade union organization, you are only there to rise against leadership, but that's not the truth. Unfortunately, people don't understand. People have these actions, strike actions or whatever, when their needs are not met. And sad to say, we find ourselves in a country where there's a little problem that can be talked about and solved, but instead it will be prolonged, drag forever, like nobody's there to handle it. So people get angry, and that's when you see all these riots and strike actions. But if there are people in leadership to solve these problems, definitely we won't have the issues that we have on our hands.
Was it a difficult decision back to this? Going back with family-wise, having been consulting, I've asked the standard bearer of mine, Dr. Monobar, when you going to announce your running mate, whenever you come, you say, don't rush, wait, we are talking, a lot of negotiation going. Was it a difficult decision to accept going on the stick as a running mate?
Well, it was not a difficult decision for me because his platform is something that I welcome wholeheartedly, and I saw myself right through there. And knowing a little bit about him and doing my own little due diligence even more, I told him to give me time because I just.
So you asked for time.
Of course I did. You know, it was not something I just wanted to grab for. And after consulting my family, my church, my friends, and
some of them tell you have to be careful. Like, bro, in politics, it's so dirty. Someone hits you the wrong reason. You pop up in the media for the wrong reason.
And what I normally tell people is when things get difficult, if the price of rice goes up, or basic commodities, or anything for that matter, everybody pays the same price. So if everybody would draw away from helping, who helps? We have to be strong enough to ensure that our country gets on the right trajectory.
Let me just carry out my introductory question. Marka Davis again. My question is that before, because one of the notable job or position you occupied was the superintendent job. So before coming to the limelight of politics in Liberia, who was Grace Pan?
Oh, who was Grace Pan? Grace Pan was the former president of the Dark Workers Union of Liberia.
Okay.
The wife of Bishop S. Oliver Pan, a mother of 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls, with 3 grandchildren.
Okay.
So my 2 daughters are married, and my 2 sons are maybe getting ready to reach that end. I don't know when, but I've served in several capacity. I served as the president of the International Transport Worker Federation with headquarters in London. I also serve as a member of the board of directors of National Port Authority. I served as the deputy managing director for operation at an interim period.
Okay.
I also serve as superintendent of Monserrado County, and I serve on the board of Redemption Hospital. And I've served in my own capacity as a person from the church. As the operation person, I've been involved in doing a lot of work. We've established several schools.
Okay.
Love International is the biggest right now in Gargoyle Township. I don't like to say Monrovia because we call everywhere Monrovia. So being a superintendent, I won't be calling everywhere Monrovia because people will say, where's this? Painesville, Monrovia, Liberia is Painesville, Liberia, because Painesville is a township. It's a city. So these were some of the work that I did, and many else could come up as we talk, but I serve in several capacity. I ran a program one time called Action Against Rape, where we distributed stickers, flyers to people in the community, and sometimes you even get remarks when you distribute, oh, no women, who's that someone getting? But they don't understand what rape is, so education is also a problem. And I also had another program called Life to the Community, where we had to reach the needs of people, which we still do, whether it's medical, whether it's financial, whether it's food, whatever. And with all strings attached, we're all trying to make an alarm or put a camera behind me, because sometimes people do so much and want that name to be heard. What you do in secret, God has his own way of bringing it to the public. So that and many more.
Okay, that's great. So after you left government, because recently you've been quiet, we've not been hearing in the government corridors. Are there things you regret during your time of service, and when you left, you went home in doing private things? What are some of these things that you regret, even when you were serving as superintendent? Maybe some of the decisions made in government, or even decisions by even you yourself as superintendent. What are some of these things you regret?
Take any decision that I can think of that I would regret for. My only disappointment is that the way the counties were structured, where we have this control, it was not decentralized to an extent where the superintendent had grip on her own county. So it was always like, trying to push things that you didn't have help from anywhere, so it was in that manner. So on that line, I would say, well, that would be a regret for me.
Do you say that to say the superintendent was not a major decision maker for the county?
Yes, you were a major decision maker because you had county council, which was not a bad group, but with the interference of lawmakers, that was a whole other different ball game.
Okay.
So you did nothing of your own. Whatever you needed for your county, you had to go to the Ministry of Internal Affairs. It's like your child who is a minor child or child who has some physical disability, so you have to be pampering that child along the way. But if you are given the opportunity to handle your county, serve it as you should, then you can take full responsibility. And we thought that would have changed because there was a bill passed or should have been passed where superintendents were going to be elected, and that gave you a better edge over the county. Unfortunately, that bill never came anywhere near realization.
Okay, finally, okay.
Yes. So great. And I mean, women now popping up in politics. I mean, now you have Joelle, you have Charlene Bronsky, now you have Grace Brown. What does it mean for women actively involved into politics?
Well, I've always heard of 30%, and sometimes why not 100%.
Even 100%. I mean, 30 is okay. 30 is okay.
I'm not saying it's not okay.
Uh-huh.
All along in our history, we have seen the men 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Of late, you have women coming up gradually, and we fight for 30%, but unfortunately, women don't support themselves. I will stay here and say all the nice things, and at the end of the day, how many women wants to support what I have to say? How many women want to join? I started removing kids off the street. I think Truth FM was one of the stations that really promoted that program.
Yeah, back then on Ashburn Street, yes.
And you had even people from the Ministry of Gender at the time trying to discredit what we were doing. Was it bad to do it? No. Was it good? Yes. Was it the right thing? Yes. Were the kids important to our society? Yes. Some of them were being raped. Some of them were being abused. Some of them were living with people who they didn't even know who their names were. So let's get the kids off the street. Okay, I don't want any name. It's not name making for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to clean your society.
Mm-hmm.
Get the kids, and I had a slogan: students in school, parents to work, violators to be punished. Simple. If we can have the different or the requisite government institutions involved in that process, it would have helped us. And there were many kids. I met a blind man who at one time was at the corner of Johnson, and I used to run the pharmacy on Johnson Street. I owned, not only just when I owned the pharmacy, and many people thought it was for
Johnson Benson Street.
Yeah, you know that pharmacy, right?
Yes, I know that.
Everybody used to be Eater Pharmacy, but I'll tell you the
I know.
wisdom that was used when I took over that pharmacy. I just moved a period and changed it to Rita Pharmacy.
Okay.
So everybody just had to see that's the white guy who owns the pharmacy. We brought good drugs into this country, not fake drugs. When they were expired, we threw them away. So in short, and I met this blind guy with his little daughter. So I went to him and I said, Pop, this is your child? He said, yes. I said, why do you bring her on the street? He said, because I have no money to send her to school. I have no money to feed her. So the only help she can give me is to bring me and be able to help me collect the money. So I said to him, what if she were running to a vehicle and the car hit her? I said, because you don't have sight, you don't have the ability. Do you know that you won't be able to even see how she's wounded or even if she dies? You ever thought about that? And he said, no. He said, but that's true. He said, but I can promise you, from today, you will never see this child on the street. And indeed, he moved from Johnson Street and came around the United Pentecostal Church. And whenever I saw him, I always stopped to give him something because at least he was wise enough to understand what I was saying.
There are more of them on the streets now. Everywhere.
Forget it.
One just everywhere.
Just forget
the kids run between the vehicles and all of that.
Unfortunately, we allow these things to happen. What happened to our systems? What happened to our implementing policies? Drug law is passed. How can we get these kids out of the ghettos and different camps? The entire country is a ghetto. The entire country. Do you think the kids want to be there? They don't want to be there.
Before then, we used to say, well, on Gallows Street in real life, right now, the entire country.
The entire country. Every community, almost every little township got 1, 4, 5, 6 ghettos. It's a serious issue. Just right here, Batesville, Turtle Base. You know Turtle Base, right?
So passing the law and finding a solution to it. You grab the man and put him away, jail him.
No, you cannot jail the man, and that's the wrong.
That's what
that's the wrong thing to do.
On.
Yes, and that's the wrong thing to do. This is what in 2006 we went to Solari Base. The word Solari means death is better than life. And those guys, when we asked them why they named the place Solari, they said, look, the condition we find ourselves, if we die, no problem. It's better than being alive. So that's how serious it is. We went there, we talked to them. We've negotiated with them, we dialogued with them, and when we got all our high, even though we didn't smoke, we were on cloud 9. So we carried a bus, about 50. All of them, they didn't get on board. We ended up with 25. And we took the kids for over a year plus. Some of them, I met one of them that didn't even remember. He works now. I don't know where he's still with Seti brother. But he saw me, oh my, do you remember me? I'm like, I don't know. I know many persons, so people, so he said, one of the guys that he took out of the ghetto. At least he's not transformed. He has a job to do. So just imagine if one person or one little small group is taking each of those guys, and if you have to report 5 cell phone a day, and you are taking out of the street, you have saved 5 person from being attacked by phone snatchers. My kids misplaced 2 phones right in front of the Ministry of Finance. There's a group called 11 Brothers. I don't know you know them. They are also from the 11 Brothers. They own bros. You always see them spying in the car. Sometimes I used to drive around and take an old phone not working and just lay on the dashboard. They would knock one side of the car when it looks so, it would pass the hand. And they have a way of doing it. So these guys took the phone away. Before the end of the day, I got those phones back. How did I get the phone back? And anytime they see from you, one of them will come and say, oh, better go to so place, you get the phone. Follow that direction. And he said, go to so police station and so police person and let them help you. And it was simple. I went to the police station. I met the person. When I called, at the end of the day, the guy went to them. He talked to them. They charged him for the phone. So I kept calling the phone. I called. And I said, I'm picking, Brabi, yo, what's up? He said, who there? I said, Oma. He said, who there, Oma? I said, Chris, man. Hola, Oma. I said, you tell Oma phone that I begin. I think they're not fair, but, bring my phone back. He said, hey, Oma, we're picking. I said, picking, I understand the OPS. Maria, I was saying small thing, yeah. Oh, yeah, Oma, everything you sent, we take it. And I sent it, and I got the phones, iPhone and Samsung back before the end of day with the help of a police officer. The law enforcers are also afraid. These people have no protection. They have absolutely nothing to protect themselves. So you go into a ghetto where these criminals are. At the end of the day, I need help to get my food back.
Let's get to the main one. The Monubak ban ticket. This is the big one. Is this ticket easier to sell to Liberian people? 104 days for our election.
Well, I think it is if we have listening ears. If we have receptive hearts, it should be a very easy ticket. Because everybody cries, they want transparency, they want justice, they want the right things to be done. But how many of us are listening at the right things? How many of us are listening to the real transformation of our country? And what are we going to bring to this table? We want that transformation that will change the lives of our people, that will change the direction we are heading. Because where we are heading is not the right direction. With all these things undone, we need to change the system. We need to change the mold. If you want 4-inch, you build a 4-inch mold. If you want 6-inch, you build a 6-inch mold. If you want 6-inch, you can build 4-inch because you won't have what you really want. So the system, there are laws, there are instruments and policies, whatever, but these laws are not implemented. And the way to implement them is this. You as a leader should ensure that the punishment are there. When somebody breaks the law, he be punished and that culture of impunity ends. But if somebody did something to this place, you move him, you put him to the other place. Is there no other Liberian that is qualified for those positions or whatever? We should change the way we do things. Once we change the way we're going, things will change. And only change people can change Liberia.
Only change people
can change Liberia.
When Dr. Monubai announces the intention to run for the president, it was almost he's young. What's his stronghold? Now the question that is back to you, Madam Pan. Now people look for strong base to help because he's from Lofa County, and I'm sure you're from Monserrado. Can you pull up over 892,000 plus registrants?
Well, we've got all things are possible. Like I said, we will go out there, we will campaign, we will touch the hearts of people. We'll say what we have to say. And at the end of the day, we'll see the result. I know it's people say he's young, but I'll tell you a story in the Bible. It took Deborah. Deborah was a woman, and she became a judge in Israel. At the time, Israel condition was just like Liberia. People had to hide. You see how early some of us go to bed in this country. By 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, the streets are clear. And you are afraid before somebody staff you, before somebody jacks something from you, before somebody kidnap you, and so on and so forth. And Deborah rose as a judge in Israel. When it was time for them to meet the enemy, the army that was suppressing Israel, Deborah told Barak. Barak actually told Deborah, I will not go to fight except you go with me. Barak was a young general, but it took a female to go with him in a battle and defeat the enemies. Today, he may be young, I may be older than what he is, but I'm the Deborah that is going to take this general to the battlefront.
You're Deborah.
Yeah, I'm the Deborah.
Election goal finance. I mean, is the party financial muscle strong? You see all the political parties now running the city with lots of vehicles. You turn like you see the Coalition for Democratic Change. You see the CPP. You see the Unity Party. What's the financial strength to move into 15 counties?
You know, interestingly, this country is very interesting. I remember back then with the CDC, people just had natural love for the leader. And whether they got T-shirt or not, they voted. This is how true elections are supposed to be. But unfortunately, our people have not reached that level. That's why we want to transform Liberia and educate our people. So if they have the understanding and they hear for themselves and they know, I think they'll make a decision. So we may not have the cars, the motorcycles. We are believing we got less than we got 100 and some days.
104 days.
104 days to election. If a miracle has to happen, it will happen.
You sure?
Yeah. We may not have all the cars and whatever, but we will use the means we best have, and I'm sure we're going to accomplish.
Is the policy different from others? This current government came from, let's start off the MPP, say above all else, the people,
right.
The Unity Party too came. And now we have the change for hope, or the hope for change. And what message you bringing out to Liberian people that someone can grab and say, yes, I think this is the new Liberia that we need. This is the new president we want to elect.
What every Liberian wants is transformation. Transform every sector in our country. Ensure that we are self-sufficient in food production. Ensure that the monies that come into this country being used for the intended purpose. Ensure that people go to work and at the end of the month, they won't worry. When I was president of the Workers' Union, at NPA, we took pay like around the 19th and 20th of the month. How did that happen? We went to a collective bargaining agreement. We advocated for our people. Low salaries. So you see, when you come to national leadership, and I think the question anybody should be asked, what have you done in your little corner? In wherever place you work, what did you do there? What did you accomplish?
We're talking about 5 million plus people. Little corner, maybe you are managing like 100, 200 staff. You talk about 5.2 million according to wages.
Agree. So, if you never gave somebody paracetamol in the community before who was sick and you had a means to do it, how can you tell me that you're going to build me hospital and I should believe you? If you never fought for somebody's salary to change from $350, like I did at the Freeport of Monrovia, to $212, that's a huge jump, right? From 350 Liberian dollars. Former NPA workers are out there. I hope they will call on the show. From 350 Liberian, the lowest employee, to $212 within 6 months.
Which year was that?
That was 2006.
Okay.
Yeah. And I could explain the long story how we went about it. So we had death benefit for managers at $5,000 United States dollars, and for an ordinary employee was $5,000 Liberty. Under my leadership, with my negotiation, the first time in the history ever of the National Food Authority that there was a collective bargaining agreement between the union and the management, that money changed from $5,000 Liberty to $6,000 United States dollars. Then one woman said, "Preso, I'm ready to die." I said, "How do you die when you are alive?" He said, "I will go high." You know, and that's how anxious people are for being delivered from the arches of poverty. It was not only that, we got medical benefit for an employee, and 3 of their dependents. Since I left, They drag it, they pull it here, there, once in a while up, the next minute is down. The port workers union have been struggling for a while. How did I do it? Look, we need honest people in our society. We had shops, for shop stewards, and we tracked every vessel that was coming to this country. We knew what they were generating. The vessel, you determine about the summer depth weight, weight of the vessel, so the shipping agency pays. When we track all of those, when we took our case to the board, nobody could reject what we had. Nobody could reject it. Then I was being backed by the International Transport Worker Federation. So if I didn't get what I wanted, I can call it in the RTF. The RTF has over 10 million members, which I represent in Liberia. For the first time in the history of this country, I went through at the ITF, pay up all our dues, and put us online. So I had even international protection. Look, if I did it with people who had 2,500 ex-combatants, and none of them left that port crying, what big? You can use the same method you use if you are not in top government position. From down there, you can use the same method if you get there.
I guess since you've been announced as a running mate to Dr. Clarence Monobile, you start doing some other engagement. When you go to the people, both of you, what do you hear from them? What do they say to the team?
What do they say to what?
What do they say to you? When you go to a campaign, try to convince them? Do they say,
campaign
is the very campaign, but some way, somehow, indirectly? Is this people new?
Community engagement.
Yes, you people are new, probably wait for 2029. It's not the right
that's the Liberian problem. Why wait for 2029? If you are looking for good people, why wait for 2029? One of what encouraged me was my son. He said, the church every day you're praying for God-fearing people. God-fearing people. Your fear go now, why you can go? And that was a real hit to me. The Bible says when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. So I don't know whether the righteous or they are listening.
Okay.
Because the righteous is on board. We can make the difference. We can wipe the tears away from Liberia. I told my standard bearer, look, I'm coming to this thing. I may not have money. I may not have what it takes. But we have policies. We have principle. Politics without principle is a disaster.
Without principle?
Yeah, without principle is a disaster. You jump into politics, you don't have anything that you're not principle-minded person. Anything falls your way, you go for it. You have to be careful with how you live with people. In my personal experience with ordinary people, many of our national leaders have not had that personal experience like I have had.
Does this fear and scare you? You see one round victory, the poster president picture, one round victory, 12-year contract. Then you say, Dr. Moldova, you have your one-on-one executive meeting. Why is it going today? There's calls of Liberians saying, so one round, you trigger on the social media, the president fly just everywhere, one round victory.
Well, everybody has the right to speak. So anybody can say what he or she wants to say. One round, we have not seen it before. And we wish it was so, because if we have had leaders in the past who have pushed maybe for a two-party government, I think we'll be talking about one round. So then I will say, why didn't we go that route before? But here we are. Somebody say, oh, they got plenty of people in the race. Why are you going? I said, the only thing that I know cause a person to run in a race is our constitution. I think it said 25 or 35 years. It didn't say whether you are crazy. It didn't say whether you have money. It just said 25 years. Or 35 years. So once you reach that age, you are a candidate for that seat. And I don't think I'm afraid by anybody's statement. This is the wrong female anybody would think would be frightened by anybody. I cannot be frightened by anybody. So I'm not afraid by those statements. People have the right to talk. Freedom of speech. Speak as you wish. I can say I'm going to win as well. Yes, I can say I've won already.
So,
in case you don't win, well, when the fullness of time comes, we'll speak to that issue.
Okay. So, Madam Pan, you worked in the past administration, which you had good experience with. You being an observer in this administration, do you want to tell us what are some major differences you've seen so far, whether in administration, whether in economic policies, whether in governance itself, the fight against corruption and all of that?
Generally, I think there have been hands off from everything. Nobody in this government speaks to anything. Whether the entire state is on fire Nobody says anything. So everybody is left finding his own answers. This thing happened even during the COVID. People will speak once or twice. I watch television. The Ghanaian president was on television every blessed day, even up to the last one when he said that, they were putting X to the whole COVID issue. We haven't heard anything from anybody. The Minister of Health, we haven't heard anything. We haven't just heard anything from anybody. So we are on our own. In Liberia, we are on our own.
I mean, we have a government. We have
on our own, in a sense that nobody addresses our situation. If you have
when the US raised high up, no one said nothing about it. You have a real situation, no one said nothing. Is that what you saying?
Yeah. So you have a child. You come home, everything in disarray. You don't pay attention. You make other kids in the house fighting with your children. You pass. You go in your room. You come outside. Maybe you meet somebody beating your wife. You pass. Will they consider you as the father? Will they consider you as the father?
I mean, the head of the home.
Yeah, for sure your headship. Liberian men who always say, I'm the only rooster here. And they kill rooster on Christmas Day. So you have to be careful. No?
They name my rooster that way. Great. So we'll make the line activate and we'll move. Yeah, the name my this one name my district now. That's why I said they name my rooster that way.
Yeah, so okay, Madam Kwan, you were fortunate to work with some members of the legislature, because once you were superintendent here, you worked with the Legislative Caucus of Montserrat. And if you become vice president, you will preside over the Senate. What kind of Senate do you want to preside over? Ask this question the last time to one of the vice running mate or the running mates here.
A Senate that will respect law and order, a Senate that will respect our Constitution. I know that's a huge allegation if you want to consider that. But many things happen in this country, many laws. Let me just give you a simple example. How many times have people asked, how much do people make in Parliament? Speculation, some people say 15,000. So let's consider it 15,000. That's the latest we've heard. If you took your phone and calculate down 15,000 by the present rate of 190, and if you order in Radio Land,
you get a rate of 190.
Yeah, the rate is the last one.
Okay, I just changed 185. Go ahead.
Okay, let make it 175.
Okay.
Let's be very nice to the people in Parliament there and do the rate at 175, and see what happens. If somebody makes 15,000, 1, 2, 3 times 175, being nice, he takes home $2,625,000. $2 million Liberian dollars. How much is the ordinary police officer on the street taking home? You don't think, you tell me that we are a law. If you listen to the tape, I know you guys going to come to that. It means we made a law for ourselves. We did not make the law for anybody to ride on. And this is sad for our country, that one person takes home $2,625,000 Liberian dollars. If you times that by, that's for 1 month. If you times that by 12, the guy takes $1,500,000.
I mean, you bring another debate.
I should bring this debate because you tell me if I become whatever in the
so let's reduce the lawmaker salary, for example. Okay.
So salary need to be reduced.
Yeah, harmonize. We'll harmonize it for let's say for 10,000.
All the other things. So let's put it to 10,000.
Let's put 10,000 and you change our 175.
175.
Yes.
1,750,000.
Wow. Just one man.
You know how many persons could be helped from just the 5,000 you took off? Look at our FOC, our flag of convenience, under the maritime. We have 4,400 vessels flying the Liberian flag. How many employees do we have that will cry right here? We're looking for employment for you. Why aren't we putting young people or training people to get on these vessels? So let's say if you put 5 persons on each of those vessels, 4,400 vessels, you know how many employment you have created? Do you really know how many employment you have created? We got all these big places like Setis. Now with the first thing Seti should be, we'll be somewhere in Bento or Bon County or Bomi County. Why everything got to be just clustered up in Monrovia? We got steel factory, we got Semenco already, Seti on a cement factory. Look, if you should dress the way you want to be addressed. If you dress like some kind of way, the poor dress you some kind of way. If you tell these people, look, you're bringing development to our country, but we need to open up. Everything is just in Monrovia and in suburbs.
Like Seti, you have maybe 10 branches right in the same.
Yes, you just imagine that. So These people need to give corporate responsibility. They should have corporate responsibility, give it back to the township or wherever they operate. If they are asked at least to employ X number of Liberians, you know how many persons will be employed? And not just employer, they should follow our labor law to the letter. When I was president of the union, I visited some places. I went to the bathrooms. You don't want to see it. People get wounded on the job. Nothing happens for them. Nothing happens for them. People die on too many jobs. Nothing happening for them. Why? Because we got too many people. There was a strike action one time in Harrisburg.
Mm-hmm.
I was not superintendent, but I went there and quieted the noise down. Why did they listen to me?
You think they have been passing bad concessions?
Come again?
You think they have been passing bad concessions?
Of course, of course. You see, when even the concession may look good on the paper, but it's not being implemented. Then look at the China here. We see that whole railway going there.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are supposed to hire people from the different townships and cities, communities along the route to make sure that train track is clean and clear at all times. Unfortunately, they don't pay those money because maybe at the end of the day, somebody will go there. When you go to them, or maybe the commissioner go there. Commissioner goes there. He takes phone and call one honorable man. Nobody is honorable if he does not do the honorable thing, and that's a clear fact. Look, if we cannot change it, we should not get into it. And for me, I'm in this thing. I'm in it to win it.
The aim to win it.
Yes.
What was the leadership this morning Pantike will do that for the coalition for democratic change?
I mean, all of what I'm saying, if I'm speaking here, my experience is a clear indication that I have the capacity, that I have the strength, that I have the mind to do what is right for Liberia. It does not take much to satisfy the Liberian people. If you like the agriculture policy that we have, that you make hops to different counties, maybe Lofa County, Bombing County, wherever we grow rice, and this county will grow this, and we buy from ourselves. Just look at our country chicken that we eat. So healthy. Look at our palm oil. So healthy. You know what? Many people getting stroke and getting sick around here. We eat too many toxins. Look at the chicken on the market. Sometimes you cook it, it's so very fresh. What if one country is producing chicken? Just chicken. You think we need all this importation? The total number of prisoners in America from the last time I did my own research was around like 3, 4, 5 million people. We are just the number of prisoners in the United States. I'm not. Now, I hope you all the understand. I'm not calling us prisoners. I'm just talking about numbers. We are not, in other words, we are not too many. We are too small of a country. We're so rich of our resources to be going through what we're going through.
Rich country, poor people. So
yeah.
Someone has said that.
Let me give you another thing. Firestone rubber plantation once upon a time was the world's largest rubber producing plantation in the Republic of Liberia, west coast of Africa. I think it's at the second place right now. Where do we get rubber bands from? We're largest rubber producing country. And we got people sitting in parliament don't know that we can put rubber band on our money. And we have to be bringing rubber band from Malaysia and India to our country. Shouldn't we be demanding Firestone now to be fixing rubber band and tires? Every used tire we buy in this country, you pay $75, $50 for one tire. By the time you say 1 or 2 days, you're already in trouble. It's simple. If you want to do business in my country, you have to go X, Y, Z. And we ensure that it's implemented. But at the end of the day, when it comes to implementation, we don't do it. We go by, we take small things. And at the end of the day, what do we get? When you finish eating all that money, you finish getting all the things, when you die, the casket put it inside, we're not even correct for you to turn around. So we should realize that, look, we have an obligation to the people of this country, and we must be able to help bring this change.
Great. We must be able to help this change. The voice of Honorable Grace Bond, the vice tender bearer on Lino ticket. Well, definitely, she said, this is our time, and we want to get the lines activated. Sit back and let's pick the calls up. 077-0153-265. Call you be live on the Breakfast Show. We have veteran Liberian journalist Vanny Bese. Vanny, you haven't called me for a very long time now. You are very first caller. Good morning, Vanny Bese.
Thank you. Good morning, Cousin Grace.
Good morning, Cousin Vanny.
All right. You know, all of the things you said, Cousin Grace, I know you. I follow some of the things you did in this country. Now, the question I want to ask, you going out of draft running mate to somebody who wants to be the president. And Grace, sorry for calling you Grace. Cousin Grace, I know you. You are a hands-on person. And you know what the Constitution says about a vice president and what it's supposed to do and not supposed to do. Are you willing to take all of the things with the president? What if you tell him we let's do it this way? He says no. What if he doesn't consult you? Are you not going to be a vice president just sitting down and wasting? That's my question to you.
Okay, that was something I thought that was discussed and agreed upon before I came to this position. And
let's pick the calls just to get down.
Okay.
Maybe I'll let JMB say he was packed for.
So what is the number? 0770202579 0770202579.
Yeah, let me see. I'll pick this one. 2 from my M, 2 from your M. Morning.
Okay, this is G. Gibson M. Flomo, the chairman for the Movement for Honorable Small Aquarium District number 5 and a strong member of the LANO. I just want to buttress what the astute Pastor Nambera has said this morning, because the new Liberia that is being envisioned by Dr. Paris K. Moniva cannot be possible in the hands of crooks. And that's why he thought it wise to be very, very cautious in finding his running mate. And Mrs. Man, you have done no wrong. You have done the best to do the best thing for the new Liberia and to promote the Liberianization policy, which is going to take us from poverty to prosperity. I just want to say thank you for joining the team and same new Liberia for 2020. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Yes, Maka, if you get called, you can pick from your end. If not,
yes. Let me pick this one. Good morning.
Good morning, Oni. Good morning to Honorable Grace. And yes, and then how I put it on tax this morning. Let me appreciate our mother. Now, question how to do Article 51 of the Constitution of the just to be a power which assists the president. I want to know what kind of power president do we expect if your party will ask within 4 days to election? What kind of power president do we expect for you? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Let me take this one and then Oni will take the other call. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Louis Tiatoba Senior. I've been journalist all my life without happy as one. Good morning. Good morning.
She's answering you. Go ahead.
Okay. What I wanted to say is that one point in time you were on the black political space and you became controversial. You eat. Are you thinking about that baggage? Would it be an embarrassment to Moba? Your presidential candidate? You get some smart ideas. Do you have the means and ways to win the support of the president if you were elected?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let's pick this call on the line from line 2. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Marka and O'Neill Marawa this morning. Thank you for affording me the opportunity. Good morning, madam. You know, O'Neill, the madam.
You don't tell us your name and where you're calling from, please. Go ahead.
I'm in LSU calling from my governor resident.
Okay.
They're still a guest for Lancaster. I think these are the people that we're looking for in Republic of Liberia. If we want to see new Liberia, because she talked about the agriculture sector and she talked about how she will implement or how the government will implement. These are the people, if they can come and tell us step by step what they will do when they get into power, I think these are the people we Liberian people need to promote in 2023 or towards, and at least so they can transform the country to where we want to see it. Thank you for affording me the time this morning.
Thank you. Go to the issue 0770-153-265. Call you live on the breakfast show. We have the VSB to line noon. Madam Grace Pan with us on the TBS this morning on 96.1 The Heart and Soul of Liberia. Back if you have call from your end, you can do so. Or maybe I pick this caller right here from this line. Let's see if I can get this call going through this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
And let me say good morning to your co-host and good morning to your studio guest. The name is Mukwe A. George.
And I call you this morning from a rented resident in Baptist Scenery.
The way it sounds funny, every time you say for your rented resident, we expect to pay a rent. Go ahead.
O'Neil, that is my personal responsibility.
Okay, you call for your rented resident. Go ahead.
Yeah, so O'Neil, let me be very realistic this morning. Your studio guest had made my day. Why do I say this? To listen to a person that is at that high echelons that understand the layman issue, and then clearly to speak to some of what she has said. You see, the labor ministry, there are people that have gone at the workplace and they are hurt. They have come up with injury at that particular place of work, and the government seems to do nothing. And there are laws, there are order that are not functioning into these places. So if we will have a person, I don't support her or I don't support Moba, but if we have a people that understand this issue, that we
you like her policy, you like the policy, but you don't support her. Then how does this thing happen?
Listen,
I'm a bit confused. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is this. I do not support her, and I know my reason. Why I say this is if we will have people that understand this layman issue, will be able to speak to these various companies, the importer of rice, and those that are coming with their freezing food and GMO food, and telling them that this thing is not needed in our country. We need so and so, and be able to tell them what to do. So she have the mind, she have all of what she is saying. So I just want to know her better. Okay. And then
probably
maybe in a subsequent time,
in 104 days time, if she convince you more, then so be it. Thank you so much, Lucre George, for your rented resident. It's so interesting. Batch of the callers, you can take a time and respond. Then maybe in 9:05, we'll take a few more until 9:15.
Okay, the first question was concerning the vice president.
Yeah,
just sitting. That was something I discussed with my standard bearer. And this vice president is not going to be a sitting vice president, just sitting.
You make it clear to me. You bring him into pack me.
Yeah,
Clarence, you bring him into pack me. Let me know before I say this thing.
Everybody says, well, the former vice president said, but I think I understood him. He was saying that he was not. I don't think he was talking about his position, because you can make your position alive, or you can make it, whatever. But if you took a racing car from even the car dealership or the garage, and you put on the road, definitely will run. This racing car will take the routes that's necessary, and it's going to run, because we have discussed this. The administration agents say that my standard bearer has said, look, you have to handle this, and I handle that. And if you do that, you make the burden on the president less. I don't think if, as the first president, I saw something going wrong. Let's talk about the street case or unfair labor practices in most of the places of work. And I just heard, and I'm the kind of person, if I hear something, I like to get details. I don't expect, I inspect. So if I inspected something and realize that the government attention is needed, all I need to do is to go to the president and say, Mr. President, XYZ. And he said, go ahead, Grace, and I will define what I'm going to do, so and so forth, and be clear. And go out there and help the president so we can save the face of our government. But if I just sit there and everything passes by my ear, or I use my ears for exhaust pipe, then there's no need to be in the seat where I sit even right now. Yeah. The second one was you eat, I eat. And this, I got Sarah recording. I still got a recording.
You still have the recording.
And I got one other one that we
did.
They're
not saying disturb you at some point in time.
Oh, it didn't. I thought it never disturbed me. Because you see, our society is gullible. And if you don't have evidence in this country, you can't fight anything. People are saying this, people are saying that, but what the truth is what we should all fight for. I did the recording. Why I recorded? I was tortured and tormented mentally in whatever way, to an extent that I had no choice but to find my evidence. So, and pieces of evidence, as a matter of fact. So I made sure that at the end of the day, this young man will not say it's not so. Some of the recordings, they didn't come out clear, but the ones that are out, even the one he did at Truth FM. And I walked into the studio with he and Honorable Sir Joseph.
Yes.
You are telling me you need to buy chairs for a public school, but you send a listing for scholarship for X number of students. Instead of buying the chairs, Instead of saying, I want chair. And in fact, let me explain the CDF, FDF stuff to you. It was not the prerogative of a lawmaker to be bringing project to us. It was the prerogative of the community. So those monies should have been for most needed projects in the community. If the lawmaker wanted scholarship, he should have gone through his community leadership. They sat and they discussed it. You will even see Honorable Ford sending a letter to state that I'm forwarding you this resolution. Another one that's supposed to send a resolution. The resolution is supposed to be drawn up at a county council meeting where delegates from your different districts and community come into play. Then we all sit down and you say, okay, I need a toilet, I need a well, I need a building, I need that, and we agree. Then the money is distributed. But unfortunately, people want to come into capital building and distribute the people money. Even though I wasn't the principal A, neither was I the principal B. But if there's a recording, I wish that could be clear. He said, look, you think if the discussion break down, I will not compromise myself.
Wow.
Yes. I could find a tape and give you one. You put the earphone, you hear all of that. The other ones are available.
Probably maybe you can WhatsApp to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because nowadays, when you talk and say EIE, maybe the will interpret.
Yeah, no, he didn't say you EIE. He said, this is how I almost know the whole tape. He said, you got that money. Which money? The money for the county council sitting. People come to these district meetings and they are giving compensation to pay their way, stuff like that. Even with their $2 million US or there's $1 million Liberian dollar, they want something from that little money. So each lawmaker will go there and want gas from it, gonna get $100. And the poor man who gets nothing, some of them who won't even have job to take like the $20, you have to cut the $20 to $10 to accommodate them. You better don't say that lie. I got books. This is what I presented to plenary.
Okay.
This is what I presented to plenary.
Okay.
Who told you they read it? They didn't even read it because they didn't care. They were set. They were set to trying to destroy me. But what they did not know, that I already had them fixed. Yeah, I needed evidence. So he said, and I said, no, the money is like internal affairs. If they've read the letter, fine. But when with all this wrangling, we're going to internal affairs stuff, he said, that's the problem. Other countries already ate that money. And I said, but most of the countries have not mismanaged the money. He said, and that's what I'm saying. Whenever the countries do something, they put the SSS on us. Because when I took all the money, we had a moratorium.
Okay.
So, we got 2.9 and we can work in 2.5. I said 2.5 for the project. Yes. I said, but that would be like over $400,000. What will we do then? He said, the man is a professor. I will eat some. You will eat some. The minister will eat some. I said,
That's how they eat it.
Yes. So when the Liberian people had that portion of the tip, they didn't listen to the rest. And I said, you think the minister wanted? Oh yes, he had to play that ball. Oh yes. If the project is 100, we can make it 150. Can you imagine? You make that kind of money and say $150, $50,000 on each project, that I should be the one to do that. And I thought it was sad. If the project can make it 150, they want 50, yeah, we chunk. And Patrick was a Truth FM at the time. I remember that. And I remember when he got in that studio, Patrick had to call the thing and play the music to cool him off. Then I said, suppose you get into trouble. He said, how you get into trouble? I said, but according to the law, your mayor law, this is da. He said, we don't want any law. When we reach to the law, we'll pick up the law and we'll pass it. He now talking about running again in district system.
You mean my former professor was saying, I will eat some.
Yeah, you will eat some. And the minister will eat some.
The
guy knows how to conjugate verbs. So if you sound wise and you didn't conjugate well, you can go to him, he can tutor you on that level. That would be a nice thing to do.
Great. So it appears that your political muscles now, you have the thick skin now to face every push and turn left and right. Like brown politics have gotten so dirty over the past years now.
Oh yeah, in fact, that was former Representative Josephine George Francis said, "Oh, Grace, this thing is politics, and you have to have thick skin." Thick skin, yes, true. I have thick skin, but you can't be saying the truth and trying to water it down. Because when I was being harassed by him consistently, she was the first person I called. I thought this was a female. Oh, she said, "Don't worry, I got your back." Blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, they sat there mute without saying anything. They all want to come back to run. Is that the only job they have to be representative?
Almost 12 years now.
Yeah.
Since then you haven't spoken to him.
Yeah.
Do you sometimes bump into him sometime?
I did once when I went at the Redemption Hospital and they asked me to serve on the board. That made him even more angry.
You greeted him?
Oh, yes. And I spoke, he answered not pleasantly. The next minute he was running to the Ministry of Health. Why did you bring this woman in my district? I'm a Liberian. I'm a citizen of this country. I have the right to work anywhere. But what hindered them most was nobody will go to redemption again, take the people lay rights, they lay oil from the patient, and take the people lay things and carry it away. This is how cheap and petty some of our lawmakers are. Very petty. You fake scholarship for 400 students. All of them are beginners. No 400 students sit in one 400 students sit in one class. No, not possible. You send a check to the University of Liberia, $12,000 for so number of students, no name, no ID, no, and you say I should sign it. There are checks here, some of the return checks here, including see some of the receipts. See some of the receipts that people wrote to receive some of the check.
Okay.
You call it receipts.
Wow.
See, somebody just told me they owe something. And they wrote,
so which year is that? Since 2013, you still keeping?
Oh yeah, I got many of these also. If you think you want comfortable, you can count. I got plenty in other places around the world. Receipt. Whole school, is this the kind of receipt a whole school will present to somebody?
Okay.
Huh? And it's sad because yeah. So when I started to do the due diligence to find out whether these institutions were real institutions, that's when they got angry. Because one of the places we went, the register was in a deal, and the principal didn't know. The names were manufactured, and it was surprising that some of the there were no student names like those in those classrooms. Then so what they did when they called me to plenary, they raised an issue. Oh, they want to $50,000. They printed a fake email. I would not misspell my own name if I was saying something to somebody. I did not open an account. The Ministry of Internal Affairs. If I want water to drink in most of the country, I had to go to the Ministry of Internal Affairs. That's how they wrote the budget law. The superintendent is just a ceremonial head.
Okay.
It was sad. And I wish for the time that they would elect superintendents in this country, and those superintendents will be monitored to an extent that the deliverables will be made. And then, but after they have written the check, you see, this is not my signature. This is not my signature. So I eat your county money or you go look for that man, he still get it and Sir Joseph and Thomas Farah, they stay there, you go check and you Thomas Farah want to check $20,000. Yeah, and this is passport. Okay. When I first came out, you didn't know I had it because I went to EcoBank and demanded that they give it to me. They were kind of hesitant and all of that. And he didn't know that I won there for it. But if you look at the voucher for this, I didn't even sign the voucher. The voucher to this stuff was never signed. I voided it. This is it. This is what they wanted me to sign, and I refused. But guess what?
Ministry of Internal Affairs.
Yes, the man have finished
County Development Program.
The man was finished cashing the money. He ate this money. I got the bank statement with his on it, and many other institutions. You see the voucher? You see anything with that?
I hope you share some of these documents.
Of course. In fact, I was trying to do the whole book so you can have it. So anybody who wants to take me on, I have the ammunition, and I'm well able to combat anybody who does not want the truth. Liberians do not like people who are honest. They don't like it. They say, oh, the corruption plan, but when some of the grassmen to punish them for corruption, they say, oh, the honorable man. Where are we going? Where?
Yes, I mean, this is just one of our many interactions we'll definitely do.
I need
a copy of these documents. I'm seeing some signatures.
Yeah, let me show you. Let me show you my first letter when I took over.
The general manager to EcoBank.
Dear sir, madam, please accept my sincere compliments as per the desire of the President of the Republic of Liberia to live free. So this is February 2011. So by 2012, we started fighting. Soon they lifted the freeze. We did open.
Before it didn't start.
It started. So I read the EcoBank to lift the freeze on the County Development Fund. We want to ensure transparency, proper management, and accountability of these public funds on our control. In view of the above, all checks raised from Montserrat County Development account must be accompanied by a letter from the office of the superintendent. No checks without an accompanying letter from the superintendent office should be honored. Why? Because I was not signatory A, neither was I signatory B. But EcoBank honor it. EcoBank, the day I become vice president of the country, you will pay for the $20,000, you will go back to the county. Let me tell you that for free. We got this institution here. They bypass us because honorable people. You have policies. You cannot issue check, especially somebody who is head of the country has written you this. You didn't see any sign voucher. You didn't see anything. Okay, you took the check. And the Minister of Internal Affairs had to write. And they had to call. But if you look on Sir Joseph, or not Sir Joseph, you're supposed, he said you're buying chair and you're paying tuition for students in Gabriel College School and a public school. If you look on the thing, they say confirmed by Felix Steven. There was no Felix Steven in the country to have confirmed this check.
All right, so definitely we'll save this for another date.
Yeah.
I hope you share this document.
Oh, yeah,
it's quite interesting. We say a lot of things. So as you close up, what do you have to say to Liberians?
Look, Liberians, let me tell you this. Don't ever underestimate the power of a woman who fears God and respect humanity and love children. Because I tell you, I have one of the biggest school right now in Bon County that is 100% free. We pay them from Arabia. Go to Cape Mount, we got a low school there. Go to that one is not free, they charge a low fee. Mm-hmm. Go to Babolu, we got a low school there. We have done all of this because we see the need. You guys, when they pay me all those palm concessions over there, what are they doing for our people? What law have they implementing so that other people can benefit? This ticket is going to produce leaders that will transform this country.
I hope they have another interaction. This time around, we'll be 1 full hour. Because of time, we gotta go out. I mean, I received lots of text messages. People so interested to know this document. You should share it with us. Yes.
Before we close, when our president of the worker union, this guy should have gotten. He was on the board before me, so he should have gotten this money. And somebody was kind of like, "Oh, the one received the check." They did not know that I've written to the chief. My people and said the money is not mine. Give it to this guy. I fired the guy later on because I thought he was, bringing strife. I photocopied those papers and I pasted all what they put, so nobody could talk anymore. When you don't have evidence or evidences to substantiate anything you have in this country, you are finished.
So you photocopied more than 10 of this.
You know how I got it? It was not in my possession. You see the letter why I wrote here.
Yeah, we'll save this for another day. Thank you, the voice from the VSB, the vice running mate to Dr. Clarence Bolubai, Madam Grace Crown, closing us up on the first segment of the True Breakfast Show in the midst of all country friends. Let's get a break.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Use 20% off all phone prices. I got you. Techno and all. And I use my power off for the I get my brand new Soti.
We have the best deals, offers, and promos. Purchase from any of our stores and POS around the country and enjoy the best mobile coverage certified by Ookla. Second time in a row.
Brings you closer to what matters.
Orange.
We don't worry about the connection. Oh, there's a package for me. There's a package for you. There's a package for everyone. Small dollar sale. I can reach out my West Macauday and enjoy with confidence.
To activate, dial *888# or subscribe via My Orange app. $1 gives you 50 minutes on net calls and 5 minutes off net calls, or the same dollar gives you 500 megabytes of data. Valid 24 hours. Enjoy using the best mobile network, certified by Ookla second time in a row. Visit our website, www.orange.com.lr, or call 111 for more information.
Brings you closer to what matters.
What? Orange.
Well, there are you.
Introducing Senate Group Limited. CNEN is the leading in construction and borehole drilling services provider in the West Africa region. We provide a world-class borehole drilling service to the industrial, commercial, and domestic markets by utilizing the latest borehole drilling technology and machinery. We install submersible electric pumps, solar pumps, and hand pumps, erection of seal pumps and towers, as well as comprehensive maintenance and services on existing boreholes. Need borehole services or geological service done? Visit us today at our Monrovia office near the Zone 3 Police Station, Oldest Town, Tubman Boulevard, Monrovia. Our business hours include Mondays to Saturdays, and we are open 24/7 with the exception of Sundays. Email us on sinandgroup2023@gmail.com. You can also find us on the following social media. Facebook at www.facebook.com/Sinand Limited. On Twitter, our username is Sinand Group Limited. And on Instagram, on www.instagram.com/Sinand Group Limited. Our username is Sinand Group Limited. For more info, you can call us on 0777 393 950 and 0888 701 391. So let us know how we can be of service to you today.
Let's shall come in water heading Mahalo. No worry. How I feel my sister Shona. I'll show in next week episode. I said to show him with your money, no? To be out for your house.
Shit. Just my weapon was Filipino show business. Don't worry, I got the perfect solution for you. I heard it on the radio. They bring the announcement again. Just listen.
More light at home, more possibilities for greatness. Orange Energy is a reliable solution to all light problems. Inspired by the sun and changing lives, one beam at a time. Brighter days are here. Orange Energy now provides reliable electricity at affordable rates, with solar kits starting at $6,565 Liberian dollars and monthly payments starting at $1,600 Liberian dollars. Visit any of our stores or POS to purchase your kit.
Brings you closer to what matters.
Well, Orange Liberia is the prompt sponsor of the Truth Breakfast show here on Truth 96.1 FM. Thanks to Madam Grace Pan, who was our first segment guest this morning on the TBS. So coming up now, the last segment, we have folks from the Liberia Revenue Authority. We have this morning Mr. James B. Stevens, Assistant Commissioner of Taxpayer Services Division, Liberia Revenue Authority. We also have Mr. James A. Jabber, Assistant Commissioner, Real Estate Tax Division, LRA. I'm seeing I'm coming. So yes, this morning we have the LRA family here. So I'm seeing one person. Yes, I'm getting you. Okay, so Mr. Jabber will join us later, or better still shortly. So we have Assistant Commissioner Isaac B. Stevens here this morning to start the conversation. But this morning we'll be talking about real property tax payment. What is it? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about. So we'll give Mr. Stevens the opportunity to tell us more about real property tax.
Thank you so much. Our intent, or we intend our LRA to always ensure that our tax laws, the rules, the regulation, and the processes are made accessible and made simple for our taxpayer. Our goal is to make tax administration easier, friendlier, faceless, fearless, accessible, fairer, transparent, accountable, and efficient for our taxpayer. And as we know, the real property tax is one of 7 tax kinds that we administer at the Liberian Revenue Authority. And the payment period for this tax actually runs from January 1st to June 30th. And so we found it very expedient this morning to come just to remind our valued customer, our taxpayer, that the payment deadline is fastly approaching. And so everyone that owns property in this country, if you are not yet registered, you need to come and register your property, get your tax identification number, and begin the payment. And then those who have not yet paid for this year, we are also encouraging them to come and pay their property taxes. That is really why we are here this morning, to make sure that our customers understand that the payment season for the real property tax is fast approaching.
Okay, so like you mentioned already, you have, I think you said 7 types of, tax count. But what is the real property tax?
Well, real property tax is the tax that is paid on real property that exists within the borders of Liberia. So I think the larger question to understand this is what is real property.
Yeah.
Okay, real properties are immovable, fixed structure. In other words, we cannot move them, once we build them for the most part. There's a fellow selling some scratch car out there. He has his little boot. He can simply pick up that boot, put it on his shoulder or his head and move it wherever he wants to at any time. But that is not in the case of real property. And the two major categories of real properties are land and buildings. So when we talk about real property, we are talking about land and building. And the tax that is imposed on real property is what we call real property tax.
Okay, that's a nice lesson for the listeners this morning. That is great. So you already mentioned the categories.
Yeah, category, but let me just go a little deeper so that people understand too. There are subcategories. For example, we have residential property. That's real property. That's where you and your family live, and there's no profit motive. In other words, you are not renting it out. We have industrial property. This is where goods, manufactured for sale on the market. We also have commercial properties where people sell, goods and services, as well, because commercial can also be office buildings, and so forth. So these are subcategories when we talk about building. And then when it comes to land, we normally subclassify them as land in urban areas and land in rural areas.
Okay, that is good. So I already know what kind of real properties this building is. Yeah. So how is the tax on these various categories of real properties calculated? How do I know, for example, at FM, how much am I supposed to be paying for real property tax, or at my little 2-bedroom apartment that maybe I built by myself? How do I know what kind of tax I'm supposed to be, paying on it?
Okay. So, property tax is a function of three things: the classification, right, the value, and the rate. Okay, so property tax is a function of the rate, the value, and the classification. So for example, let's assume your 2-bedroom is a residential, right? And it is not being used for commercial purposes. It is where you and your family live. That property is considered residential, right? And the rate on residential property is 1/4%, or you simply say 0.25% of the value, right, of the property. So let's assume you told me that the value of your property, your 2-bedroom, apartment, is $5,000. That's the value, right? So that's one of the functions, right? And then I say, okay, the rate on that property is 1/4%, which is 0.25, correct? So it is residential. So if we multiply the 0.25 times the 5,000, you'll be paying $12.50. $12.50 for a whole year on your 2-bedroom apartment. And you have from January 1st to the 30th to pay the $12.50. If you do not have the $50 to pay at once, we are open to stipulations, making arrangement for you to pay your taxes as long as you can pay it between January 1st and June 30th. This year, though, we extend it to July the 3rd, because the weekend, I think the first is Saturday and the second is Sunday. So we extend it to the 3rd. So for this year, you have from January 1st to the 30th to the 3rd of July to pay your taxes. But look at how minute, how small that amount is for your 2-bedroom apartment. It's just $12.50. That's just a lunch money for you.
I like that.
Lunch money, and then you'll be contributing to the development agenda of this nation.
Yeah, so that's just one of the calculations you made there. So let's look at it. Yeah.
So you had a commercial property that is worth, let's say $80,000. Okay, $80,000. The rate on commercial property is 1.5% of the value of the property. 1.5%. So now we have all of the functions. We have the classification. We have the rate, and we have the value. So if we take 1.5% multiplied by 80,000, you'll be paying $1,200 for the whole year for a property, a commercial property that is worth 8,000 United States dollar.
Wow. Okay. So then what applies to land that is unoccupied, for example, you don't have building there, nothing there?
Okay, so let's take another example. So let's say you got a land here in
this is Dupont Road anyway.
Road, right? You got a land here in Dupont Road, and you tell me, Mr. Stevens, my land, the value, the current market value, and that is important for people to understand.
Wow.
The current market value, not you may have built your house 20 years ago, right? At the time, maybe the value was $10, but if you sell that land today, you probably will be getting $500, $600, $700. So it's the current market value. So let's say you told me you have a land here on Dupont Road that this, the value is $1,000. That the rate on empty lot, okay, city lot is 3.5%, 3.5% for a lot. So if you multiply 3.5% times 1,000, you will owe $35. So for that 1,000, in value, you will be paying $35 a year.
But let's make this clear. If that 2-bedroom apartment was on one lot, so you will pay only for the house, or I mean the land won't matter.
Value property is inclusive of the land and the structure affixed to the land.
Okay, this speaks to me that the empty land you pay more tax for it than.
Sure, you do, because government, the goal of every nation and government is to ensure that development takes place in the country.
So you're making the president to build there.
Just don't want to give them the incentive to continue to hold on to the land. Okay. We want to make sure that the land is developed. If you can develop it, you can sell it, or donate it, to institutions or organizations that can develop and make use of the land. Because the people that are living around you, they spend money to build their houses, their farmhouses. They want to sit on the porch and have a great time with their families. But sometimes that's impossible because the empty lots tends to turn into a dump site for people, and you have rodents and snakes. And
I think it's really reasonable.
Yes.
Yeah, it's reasonable. Okay, so the next question will be: at what time penalties and interest are added during the payment or calculation?
So you have, as I indicated earlier, you have from January 1st this year to the 3rd of July to pay the taxes. So if you don't pay the taxes by that time, then penalty and interest will begin to accrue. Penalty starts right away. Once we pass the 3rd, the penalty starts. And the rate at which the penalty is applied is based on the Central Bank of Liberia interest rate prevailing at the time that you go to pay the taxes. The interest, the penalty is 5%. I was talking about the interest earlier. The penalty is 5% every month, but we cannot exceed 25%. So, and that starts to accrue at the end of July. At the end of July, we will begin to assess the penalties, but the interest will begin to accrue the moment the day, like this year, the 3rd elapses, the 3rd of July, because you have up to the 3rd of July to pay your taxes. After that, the interest will begin to accrue, and at the end of July, we will begin to assess penalties. And I want to encourage taxpayers to pay their taxes on time, because in many cases, the core taxes are not high. They are very, very reasonable. But what normally happens is that people wait and refuse to pay their property taxes, until the payment date elapses. And when that happens, you begin to accrue penalty and interest. And in some instances, the penalty and interest actually gets to be more than the core taxes. So if you cannot, by any way, by any means, you are not able to pay your taxes, all of it at one time, please come to our office, on the 2nd floor at the Liberian Revenue Authority. You will sit with the managers and the AC in that particular division to make some arrangement to enable you to pay your taxes. We are glad that James has just joined us.
Yeah, so let me just announce that Mr. James A. Jabber, the Assistant Commissioner at the Real Estate Tax Division at the Liberia Revenue Authority, has just joined us. He came to class late, so sir, I'm just kidding though. But good morning. It's good you're here.
Good morning, and thank you for welcoming to this radio station. Thank you so much.
Okay, it's great. So we've been talking and talking. So you address the next question. The next question coming is that what are the channels for real property tax payment?
To pay your real property tax, you have several means. You either go to our tax business offices at the county level. If you don't have to change, we also have the head office of at LRA. You can also go online and pay your taxes. You can use the mobile money and means to pay. So there are several other ways in which you can pay your taxes.
So let me just add to that. I think James talked about the mobile money, but besides the mobile money, if the payment is $250 US dollar or less, you can pay in cash. Okay, you can pay in cash. Besides the mobile money, also you can do direct transfer. You can go to your bank and ask the bank to transfer your tax payment, property tax payment, or any tax payment, as a matter of fact, to the National Revenue account. They have all the forms there. You fill it up, and they will take your money directly from your account to that account. You can also use the POS or Visa or debit cards. You can also use that to pay your taxes in addition to the mobile money.
Okay. So for the purpose of this interview and for the followers, what is the importance of paying real property tax for an individual, a business, or an institution?
And so it's important because once you pay your tax as an individual or be it a business, there are benefits you get from it. The country developed, a livelihood of people also improve. You have easy access to road network. Hospitals have the kind of equipment required. You get doctors well paid. You also have access to good schools and several other things. And social services are being provided. And so paying taxes is essential because it creates the condition for us to live a better life and then to see to what extent our counties and our country is really improved.
And let me just add to that too, to James. Besides the benefit that accrue to the government, there are personal benefits that accrue to you too as the property owner. It is very important that we understand that we have a patriotic duty to our country. Okay, we have to be nationalistic. We can't just talk about development and not contribute our quota to that development. But beyond that, when you actually pay your property taxes, let's assume you wanted to go, you go to the bank, right? You go to the bank and you want to take a loan. The bank will ask you, and you want to use your property as a collateral for that loan. The bank will ask you whether you have paid the taxes on your property. So that helps in terms of a personal benefit. Besides that, we all know that government have eminent domain, so government owns all of the land in our country. So what we actually pay, people think that when you buy land, then it's just, exclusively for you. You can do anything you want to, maybe to some extent, but government owns the land. What we actually pay is user fee. When somebody say I buy a house, you are just paying some money for the use of that land, because if government wants to use that land, government can take it from you, right? And we compensate you for the value of the land. But what happens if you have not been paying your taxes, or we don't even have you in our database as paying taxes, right? You will have some problem getting compensation because we want to know what the land is valued. So you can't tell us, that the value of your land is 100,000, but we don't have you in our database. You have not been paying taxes on $100,000 value of property. So there are some personal benefit that accrue to you when you pay your property taxes. What besides the benefit that government derives from your tax payment.
Okay, that's good. But one thing is, people are difficult. People used to be, I don't know whether that's still the case, difficult to pay tax. They got to push you. Like, for example, LRA will have to be doing radio jingles and all of that. But besides that, what other mechanisms or measures have the LRA and maybe partners put in place to increase real property taxpayers?
We are working closely with the counties, along with the local officials, the other stakeholders in the counties. We are also collaborating by providing flyers. We do outreach to communities. We, like you said rightly, we do our announcement and jingles. We try to see to what extent we provide the jingles and the outreach in different vernacular so that our people can be able to get the message and realize there's a need to contribute back to the country in terms of registering and paying the real property tax. I think Stephen can add to that.
Yeah, let me just add to that briefly. So besides our interventions in those areas that Jim just alluded to, we at LRA, we are vigorously, and I say vigorously, innovating and promoting digital transactions. And we think these are critical instruments that we need to ensure that taxes are paid and paid on time. We are also working on electronic mode of payments. We have a new system that have been installed, and our LITA system is going to really be transparent and accountable. And these are all intended to enhance tax administration in this country. We have a concentrated focus on enhancing tax administration in our country as we mobilize revenue, facilitate trade, and also to encourage inclusive growth. So we do a lot of awareness, consultative engagements with the local governments and and so forth, youth group, this civil society, especially in the county. In 2021, we were in Makibi working with the local government and the county officials as far as with respect to real property tax. What we want to do is to capture this property, put it in the tax net. But there are benefits that accrue to the county when we go into these counties. There's a revenue sharing agreement for all properties that will be captured in Makibi. Correct? Properties that will be captured in Makibi, payments done in Makibi, part of that money will remain within the county so that the people can see their taxes working for them. And this is also impartial fulfillment, right, of the local government that calls for LRA to train and capacitate local officials to collect these taxes. The same thing is now happening in Grand Bassa District 3. James and his team have really been working hard in Grand Bassa to ensure that we provide the awareness, we provide the training. And the good thing about this, we recruit locally. Okay, we don't recruit people from here and take them to Grand Bassa or Makibi. We recruit young, talented youth or students.
Why are you doing it county by county? Why are you not just spreading it across at one time?
Well, we have limited resources and limited capacity. So, and then sometimes we need to learn. We need to learn from pilot projects. So these are mostly pilots. And whatever we learn from these two counties, Grand Bassa, we are in fact not focusing on the entire county, even though taxes are being collected throughout the county, but we have a concentrated focus on district number 3. We want to ensure that we can, exhaustively, capture property in district number 3. And
is that in the capital of Buchanan?
Yeah, Buchanan City.
Yes.
Buchanan City and its environs.
Yeah.
And so thereafter, we will also go to District 2, District 1, District 4, and District 5. But we want to make sure we exhaust electoral District 3 first.
Okay, since you mentioned that pilot project, how much success are you scoring in Makibi? Because I think that was the first county you started in terms of this tax sharing stuff.
Okay, so for Makibi, when we started the Makibi County pilot project, we projected 8,210 properties to be captured. We managed to capture 12,574 properties just in 3 months. And so we still looking for support in terms of funding to expand our pilot project again, going deeper into Makibi, because we plan to carry the project for 12 months. We only did it for 3 months, and you can see that we exceeded the projected revenue of 8,210, and we managed to capture 12,574 properties. There are more potential in Makibi, and we think we can do better.
Okay, that is great. So what happened? What does the LRA do if people maybe whether deliberately or somehow refuse to pay real property taxes?
You know, the law provides us remedy. But as I always say on this air, that's the last thing we want to do. We want to do, you know, in tax administration. We want to, you know, we live in, we work in what we call a voluntary compliance. Okay, what we want to do is to ensure that taxpayer sense that obligation to their country and to their nation to come and declare and pay their fair share of taxes. So we have what we call voluntary declaration. Okay, voluntary declaration. If we capture you in our system and you have not come to pay your taxes, our team in the real estate tax division will send you a letter of determination, letting you know that your taxes are due and that you need to come and pay your taxes, right? If you don't pay the taxes, then the next step is for them to issue you a 72 hours closure notice, okay? And that time is also reserved. That 72 hours is intended just to bring you in, because the last thing you want to do is to go around closing property, you know, because some of these are commercial entities and we have Liberians working there. We know when we close it, it's not only the business person that will feed the pain, but also our citizens that are working there. But after that, if you refuse to come and pay, the real estate tax division will forward all of your information to our legal division, and they can go to court, adjudicate the case, and if you are found liable, the court can sell that property. And this is all law. This is not something we just arbitrarily decide to do. The court can sell that property, pay your taxes, and then we refund you or give you back whatever the excess is.
Okay, so this question, for example, I have this property and maybe I've been in this house, I built a house 5 years, and then the 6th year, then I decide to go to LRA now, you know, to say, oh, this is my property, I want to stop. Will I pay taxes on the previous 5 years that I did not pay before coming to declare? You got that clarity?
So what happens here is that once you purchase or acquire the property, you are under obligation within 30 days to register the property. Most of the time, we don't do that. And so the law provides that we can also use jeopardy to make sure that we're bringing that property in the tax net. So let us assume that you acquired the property and you did not register the property. So immediately, you should have registered and you did not register and you built a house. By right, you should have started paying on the land and you did not even pay on the land. And then after a while, you built a house and we didn't know. And then the house was even then habitable, meaning the house is available for use, and you didn't even register the property, and later on you came in and registered the property. Lastly, the law says that once you register your property, you're supposed to pay for 4 years in arrears plus 1 current year. So let's assume that the property was purchased since 1972, and you did not register your property. You come in to register now, you are to pay 4 years back plus 1 current year. That provides the condition wherein that property was never ever registered. The land that was acquired was never ever registered to pay real property tax, and then now you will pay for the years required.
Okay.
And I think the government or the law is being a little generous because you're supposed to pay, you know, from the time you build that house and you did not pay property taxes. But again, we are constrained by the law. Like I say, it's generous and we are constrained by it. Because it says we can only go back and do back assessment, right? We can only go back 5 years to do, 4 years and the current one to do an assessment, you know, based on the taxable value, the current taxable value of the property.
Okay, so let's now talk about some of the challenges you encounter in this collection of real property taxes.
So there are enormous challenges, but as I sit here and James and I, we don't want you to use that as an excuse. All right, there are challenges inherent in every tax.
What happened? You don't have vehicles?
Yes, we do have vehicles, but we can get more. You know, we need more, but we do have vehicles that we can work with. We don't want to make excuses, but for me, one of the greatest challenge that we have in property tax administration in Liberia is the fact that we lack addresses. We lack unique identification of property. For instance, James and his team can go enforce on a property, but you go and people living in the house and perhaps they renting, or even people who really own the house, and they will tell you, say, I don't know who owned this property. We do not have a comprehensive registry of properties in Liberia or deeds in Liberia to be able to identify landowners. So these are critical challenges that we are having. And so what James and his team are doing in Grand Bassa, when we district number 3, we're going to, as we capture a property, we're going to stick some sort of identification on that property to make it easier for our enforcement team to go out there, identify that property both physically and also electronically, because they're carrying around tablets, right, to capture the property, the image of the property, and all of the information pertaining to that property, and also identify it physically by affixing something on the wall. And I think this is why we are talking about pilot. We want to see how this works and how it enhances our property tax administration, and we will duplicate it in other counties. But those are two major inherent challenges, in addition to adequate, resources, to do the work.
Okay. Like Isaac have said, we're looking for support in terms of providing funding to expand in all of the 15 counties. We believe that all of our counties should be a part of the process where our citizens can now contribute back to the country and to see to what extent the different counties are developed. And so we're looking for funding in that direction, so we can expand into Nima, into Baum County, and into even Maryland and Grange and other counties. And so we're seeking support in that direction, and even to go back into Mangibi and complete the pilot project in Mangibi County. They are also constrained in terms of interference with respect to collection. Is also key, and even to capture properties. There are others who are owners of property don't want to even give the opportunity for the tax agents to capture the property and bring the tax net. There are also issues in terms of caretakers of property that do not want to provide information. And so we think it is important that librarians must be involved and be willing to register and pay the property tax, because this is the only way that our country can develop. The taxes, the taxes that people pay, it is from those taxes that government provides social services, and from those taxes that salaries are paid. And so I think it's important. All of the rules you see that are being constructed now is from the domestic tax resources. So we need to work collectively to see to what extent we are all involved in paying our taxes so that we can get to basic social services that are needed for our country and for our people.
That's great. So
everyone needs to stop. Those who are doing it, let me not say everyone, but those who are doing it, stop evading taxes. Be a nationalist. Have a patriotic duty and a sense of purpose for yourself, and pay your share of taxes. Only your share, what you are obligated to pay.
So if everyone who is eligible to pay real property tax comply, by what time do we see that our budget will reach 1 billion?
You're going to even pass what you're thinking about.
If everyone just comply, even up to maybe 80%, 75%, we'll reach 1 billion today. If everyone can just come out today and say, you know what, I'm going to pay my share of taxes, even if it is $2 or $3. My house is just 1 bedroom and my taxes is just $5. I bet you we can reach 1,000. A billion this year.
Hello, let me just add to it. And I think Isaac already elaborated. To pay the tax, the amount most of our people don't even know that is very small. Yeah, so, for example, I know he spoke on it. Let's assume that somebody have a value of a property of 10,000 and they have to pay a tax amount of $25. That $25 can be divided into 6 months, meaning it is due between January 1st to July 1st. But if you pay in 6 months, you'll be paying only $4.60. Can you imagine each month you pay $4.60? I'm certain that somebody can drink a bottle of beer and spend $100 just a day, and they can afford to pay $4.60.
Absolutely.
Don't want to pay.
Yes, you're right. And we talk about that. We even set example on a small house, for example, that you live in. All of that. That was great. But let's give the public the opportunity. Maybe certain things they didn't understand, they can have to they can have the opportunity that you can explain to them better. We'll take a couple of calls on 0770-202579. Again, 0770-202579 is the number you can call to participate. We are talking to people from the Liberia Revenue Authority here this morning about real property tax payment. So yes, you can call and ask. Maybe you have some inquiries you want to make. Let's take this caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Jonathan Robinson.
Go ahead.
Calling single. Yeah, I would like to thank the guys in the studio, man. I learned a lot from the tax administration. But one thing they did not talk about, they did not talk about farmland. People who got farm, whether they are obligated to pay tax. And then people who got, houses where they do rental, like room and stuff, whether they can, they can also pay tax.
Okay. Okay, they will address that. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Marka. Good morning, Obi.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Samuel Fire.
Please be audible, please.
Very solid land for the time you buy. You can say very solid.
Okay, they got you. They will answer you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Please move away from your receiver. The people, we have headphones here.
I'm away now. Sorry.
Go ahead. 30 seconds.
Yes, this is Sonny Wani calling from Kapulu.
Okay.
Yes, my question has to do with I'm concerned about the abandoned land that is all over in the Peru counties beside Mosuraro. There are people there. You go there, you ask for the land, you want to make use of the land. They will tell you, "Oh, this is my auntie's son, nephew, sister land." And so, how is LAR doing, or what are they doing about this?
LRA, okay.
Yes,
okay.
To pay tax. Are they paying taxes? If they are paying taxes, to what extent are they paying the taxes? Thank you.
Thank you so kindly, brother. Good morning.
Good morning, Marka. And let me say good morning to your CEO.
30 seconds, please.
Just activate McLean Render. And I do join you this morning from CEO, the biggest in the letter center. And Marka is a good example by the LRA to collect taxes for various places. But I'm from Kingsbury. There are vast majority.
Okay. You're being harmonized. So let's take this person. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, Brother Benjamin Budu calling from IGB.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to know as to what is the tax rate on rural land.
Rural farmland?
Yes.
Okay, rural farmland. That's a good question also. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. I want for the studio guests to please be transparent to tell me the total calculation of $7,850. That's the 1.5%. Please.
Now your property value there?
Yes, $7,850.
Okay, they will tell you. I know these people. Yeah, let me take this person. This person. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Let's just do a shot, please.
Okay, my name is Cyrus Bayi, and I call you this morning from Smart Junction. I want to say good morning to your studio guests as well. And my question today is that why is it that they are not expanding their project to the rural country that are willing to pay the taxes that the country deserves? You realize they are talking about pilot project, and the pilot project are not generating money for them. If they're having to create a window where they're going to have volunteers workers.
All right.
We're not think that they will generate more money to be able to compensate these people.
Thank you. I think that project, they are not telling you that other counties are not paying real property taxes. What they are saying is that it's a project where portion of the tax, paid can remain accounted for development. I think that's why they are running. It's not to say they only collecting taxes in certain counties and not other counties. So yes, we don't have the luxury of time. We'll go back to them to respond to your inquiries and also so that we can close. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so with respect to the question on farmland, The question was asked whether payment has been done on farmland. Yes. Our real property is structured into improved and unimproved land, and meaning the land is either developed or undeveloped. So if you have a farmland that is developed, yes, you pay a tax. When you have a farmland that is not also developed, yes, you pay a tax. And so there are tax rate that is assigned to farmland. For farmland, for undeveloped farmland, you have 4% that is being paid on the value of the land. So let us assume that you may have an unimproved farmland, and that land value may likely be around $500, and then you multiply 4% by that 500, you realize that you actually be paying $20. That's to be your tax for that farmland. If you have an improved farmland, meaning if you have a produce on that farmland, the value of the produce plus the value of the land, and let us assume the total value costs 1,000, then you multiply that by the rate, the tax rate assigned. Assuming the tax rate assigned is 4%, then you realize also that you'll be paying $40. So that's how it works.
Yeah. Okay. So we just let's do it sharp. Yes, we're out of time now.
Yeah. Somebody talk about a house and rental. A rental property is a commercial property. So taxes are imposed on commercial property at 1.5% rate. The only properties or buildings that you don't pay taxes on are those built completely of natural materials. That means you don't have zinc, you don't have cement, you build it with woods, you put touches over it, and so forth. Those are the only property that we do not impose taxes on. Then somebody in Bopuli talk about abundant land. The same challenges that we are having with buildings is the same challenges we're having with empty lots that are all over the place. It's the unique identification as far as who those properties belong to. And we are striving to find a common ground, especially working with other line ministry and agency like the land authority and so forth, to be able to identify the owners of those properties.
Like he said rightly, on abandoned land, you look around, you will see some smaller samples from LRA. For those who have abandoned land, and those land should be improved, but they keep it, and then people use it for waste. People use it as hideouts, and so we go around, make sure that we identify those abandoned land. We put our signposts, and we call those who own the lands to come in and register. Because if for any reason you don't register, we ensure that we work collaboratively with our legal department, along with the Ministry of Justice, and then we proceed to court in ensuring that all of those abandoned lands are then being accounted for, and those who own the lands will pay the real property tax. If not, we proceed to court, and the court take action on it.
So please, in closing, please address the person who measured the value of that property.
Who measured the value of the property being $7,850. If that is the value of the property, then for a commercial, assuming that the tax rate is 1.5, that means that person will be paying 1.5% times 7,850 will give you $117.75. That will be the annual tax for that particular person.
And I mean, this is critical. We have to talk this for 1 or 2 minutes. What you need to do to register your property is to first of all get a tax identification number. We call it TIN at the Liberian Revenue Authority. And I can guarantee you, if you walk in the office today, in 10 to 15 minutes, we can create you a TIN. And then you can register your property. You bring the deed, and we will register your property. In order to get a TIN, you will need either the bio page of your passport or your national ID and a passport size photo. And we can create your TIN and then register your property. You can even do all the same day. You can create your TIN and then register your property to pay your taxes.
Okay, so we should be closing now. Your parting comments as we close.
For me, it's very short. I have an abiding faith in the promises and possibilities of this nation. And we cannot afford, I said it yesterday, we cannot afford to allow the mistakes of the past, the failures of the past, right? And the challenges of the past to blind us to the vision of this nation. But when one person can do it, we all got to do it collectively. We just have to find deep in our soul, a reason to contribute to our country. That our life, when we leave from here, somebody will speak of us that we did our part, we play our role, and we play it well. And we can do that simply with nothing else, simply by paying our fair share of taxes for the development of our nation.
Thank you.
I would just like to encourage all property owners to have the culture of registering and paying your real property taxes. It's important because in order for our country to grow, in order for our nation to improve, we must give back to our country. We must be willing to register and pay taxes. If you can, then you don't expect your country to move forward. Can we do it? Yes. Can we improve our lives? Yes. Can we contribute to our country so that our country can improve the other countries that we talk about? Yes. Let's work together in the interest of our country and pay your taxes, and we all enjoy it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks ever so kindly for coming on the show this morning. We've had Mr. Agzi Stevens, Assistant Commissioner, Taxpayer Services Division. We've also had Mr. James A. Jabber, Assistant Commissioner, Real Estate Tax Division, Liberia Revenue Authority. We've been talking about real property tax payment. So, folks, thanks ever so much for listening. Tomorrow we'll be here again with another edition of the TBS. MARKA Davis and O'Neil Roberts. Do have yourself a wonderful time. Bye-bye.